Hey all, this is Steven from Fueling PHP, and real quick, we're going to do a quick tutorial on how to loop through an array in PHP. So I'm going to go ahead and tab over to my text editor here. I've set up a task here that showcases a few ways that we need to loop through arrays in PHP. It's a little quick task that I set up to do. Nothing too big or too crazy. Very simple. So we have a list of student names in a class, right? This is students within a class, and we needed to do a few things within the class. We need to print the list of students in an unordered list. So list all of the students that are available in the class. The second thing here is we need to list the first two students that are in that last list in another ordered list. So let's imagine that the first two students were the first to arrive, and so they get a prize or something. And so the last item I'm going to add here, we need to see if a student named George was in the class. So that's what the task is, and this will give us the three primary loops that are available in PHP, which are the for each loop, the for loop, and the while loop. There is also a do while loop that is available, which is very almost identical to the while loop, and the only difference is a preference on how you do it. And I have yet to do it more than maybe a handful of times in my whole career. So we're going to ignore that one, but it is available, and you can look it up if you need to. So the first request is we need to get a list of students available in this class. So I'm going to say student list equals John, Jacob, Shannon, Kate, George. So this list of students right here, we've got 5 students in this class: John, Jacob, Shannon, Kate, and George. Those are the students that are available in the class. So the first request that we need to do and fulfill with a loop is print the list of students that are in all of the students that are available in this class. So this loop will use the for each loop. The for each loop is the most popular loop that is available in PHP. It just goes through all of the items in the array, and you can do whatever you need to do with them. So if you just need to do something with each element in an array, it's totally possible and very easy to do within PHP, and I'll show you how to do it. So what first I want to do is echo and begin with an unordered list item, and then I'm going to do for each, and then close it, and I'll explain. So what this is gives me an unordered list of items of students that are available within this class. So we're doing a for each right here, and it's pretty easy to write. So for each student that's in this list, we're going to do echo that student name. So pretty simple to do. For each, the array as the value, and you can do whatever you need to do there. You might say, well, PHP gives you the ability to have associative arrays. What are you going to do if you need to get the key as well? That's pretty simple as well. I'm just going to add key arrow student. So the key is always available in your for each as well. And if you want to just point add that information here, array number key, and you're able to echo the key just the same as you can echo the value. Also, an important point to note, because this is an array, your key is start with 0 and not 1. So what would be displayed right here is John hyphen arrow number 0, Jacob 1, Shannon 2, and so forth. So it gives that gives us the list of students, all the students that are available in the class. Now we need to know the first 2 students that are in that list. So we can, and I'm going to showcase you the way to do it with a for each loop, which is doable, but then I'm going to showcase a better way, which with the for loop, and why we're going to use that instead of the for each loop. So the first thing I'm going to do is echo an ordered list. I'm going to do for each student in the student list. I'm going to showcase the key and the value right there. If the key is less than 2, remember start with 0, 0, 1. Those are the two values that will be displaying. Echo the student in the ordered list, and I will go ahead and close it as well. So now that we are complete right here, I want to give you a second and just think about, why is this not good here? What is wrong with this approach? Why are we not going to use a for each loop in this instance? Easy. There's a few reasons. Number one, the first primary reason, the for each loop is going to loop through all of the elements in the array. So if you have 5 items, not too bad. You only need John and Jacob. Throwing away, looping over Shannon, Kate, and George, not a big deal. But what if you have 5, now I'd say 10, or this is a huge class, 200, or you need to know all of the students that are available in the entire college, or now the entire state. You see the list is growing, and you only need the first 2. You're starting to have a problem here with performance and just poor ability right there. So a simple solution, what could be done within a for each loop to solve this, is adding a break. So if key equals 2, then break. This solves that. It's not going to go past the second item. We know that, okay, we're going to break. And in the loop, we won't get too far. It's all well and good. This now leads to a problem that it can introduce bugs if you don't if somebody comes later on and accidentally comments this is out, or just completely deletes it. It's going to then cause a bug, and it's just going to cause an issue there. And it's just going to be bad code, and it's not going to be good. It's also long to read, and there's a better solution. So I'm going to keep my open and close tags for my ordered list and switch this from a for each to a for. So for I, the variable is 0, and as long as I is less than 2, so 0 and 1 are the 2 items I need, and then add another number to the I. So for I is 0, I is less than 2, I plus plus. This is a pretty common loop that you find in almost every language that is available. It's a pretty standard way on how to loop for most languages there. And what this does is say, all right, let me echo the student list and the key that's within the student list. So this loop really does not work for associative arrays as well as it does with non, because your key is not necessarily a number. So if your student list was more like this, and you just had a name and then maybe the class that they're taking. So if you just had like an associative array where key and value, you'll see that this type of approach is not a good approach. You can still do it with the for loop, but that's a little bit more of an advanced concept. We're not going to go over that for today, but just showcasing you a different loop. And a for loop is very common, very popular throughout most programming languages, and it solves the use case where we need to get the first 2 students that are available in this list and order them. So the final use case that we're going to have right here, I'm going to show you how to do it with the third available loop that's available to us, which is a while loop. And I'm going to do it in a way that if you pick up on it, there is actually a better way to solve the problem. And you can see if you can catch up on it. And I'll go explain it to it afterwards. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. As a note, my text editor here will probably suggest something different than what I'm actually going to write. So I'm going to have to tab over it and replace some code. But this does solve, the ability to see what a while loop does. Again, PHP follows a lot of the standards that other programming languages have. You have For eaches, fors, and whiles. Whiles are very common in most languages. And the point of it, the difference between when you would use that is if you have a conditional. So you want to keep on running this until it says false. So it will continue to run while the condition is true. So I want to say I'm going to put a variable student list contains George equals false. And then I'm going to say while student list contains George equals false, then I'm going to do this action right here and continue adding I. So I'm going to actually restart I equals 0 here. I forgot that part. So I equals 0. You're always going to add right here. You're going to get the student list and get the I within that as well to therefore say whether that element in the array, does that name equal George? If so, student list George equals true. And then we're not going to do this loop anymore. So a problem here that you might figure out, if this never happens, if we don't ever flip that flag, the flag that says student list George equals false, we don't flip it to true, it's just going to continuously run forever. And that's also like a place where a lot of bad code can be introduced. But right here, just to showcase, while student list contains George is false, run this if statement here and continue until it is true. We also need to echo some line here to let everybody know George is in the class. So we know we were able to fulfill the last part of the task. We got all of the elements in the class. We got all of the parts of this task available to us. We have all the students' names in the classes. We're able to print all of the students within the class. We're able to list the first 2 students that are available in that class. And then also, we need to see if the student named George was in the class. We were able to do that, all with the 3 primary types of loops that are available within PHP. All right, you might have seen now what is the problem with this while loop. So I said right before I wrote it, I would not actually write the code this way because there's a problem here. What is it? Well, PHP supplies a lot of helper functions that are available for arrays, and we do not need to use a loop here. So there's been many times when you might be able to actually go to the PHP manual and just like review the available functions and find one that actually solves the problem that you're looking for without using a loop. So just because you need to loop does not mean you need to use a loop. Again, what I'm saying there is there might be a function that's already been created to do what you need to do right here. So what I'm going to do is remove this, and what is available, what I'm going to use is a function called an array. So if the name George is in the array of my student list, then run that echo, else don't. So if an array, and then echo George is in the class, I'm going to remove these variables because they're not necessary. So this made it a lot more compact, a lot more, it's more easily to read, and it does what we need to do. If it's in the array, then echo this thing right here. Underneath the hood, PHP is doing all the looping, all that stuff for us, and providing us an easy helper method to say, all right, if this is an array, then echo George is in the class. And it solves what we need, and this makes all of our work here very compact, easily to read, and done very well. So like I said, again, there are 3 primary loops that are available within PHP. You get your for each. You'll get a lot of those. Second one is a for loop, which is common within most programming languages. And then a while loop. While is about a condition. So while something is false, while something is true, then do this action. So you want to have a flag that you need to flip while you're in that loop. So those are the primary loops that are available for PHP. I hope it helped you learn and grow in your PHP ability. Also, remember to check out our other articles at Fueling PHP to see, to help you learn and grow in your ability.